Welcome back to Horror Movies.
In a few seconds, you're going to listen to a frightening tale narrated by me. Fear awaits you. Watch out and take care. Polly and her boyfriend Mark are standing at the seashore when they are approached by a young man who offers them some beer and challenges Polly to swim. The young man takes off his clothes and swims to the buoy in the water. Afterwards, Polly takes off her jeans shorts and enters the water to swim. But she's attacked and quickly eaten by a huge three-headed shark. Mark runs into the water to rescue her, but he's also eaten by the strange shark. The shark comes out of the water, attacking and eliminating people. In another scene, Maggie Peterson arrives at Persephone, an underwater research facility situated on an island. At the research facility, Maggie, who is a new intern at the facility, meets Dr. Ted Nelson. Maggie seems so eager to start working, but Ted tells her they'll have to start first with an orientation, during which he'll take her around the facility and introduce her to the staff at the facility. Ted then takes Maggie to Professor Laura Thomas. Coincidentally, Maggie also meets Greg, her ex-boyfriend from college. Greg is part of a group of environmental activists who have just arrived at the research facility. The group of activists include, in addition to Greg, Ryan, Allison, and Omar. Professor Thomas formally welcomes both Maggie and the activists to the facility and goes on to tell them more about the facility and the work they do. Dr. Ted takes Maggie and the environmental activists around the facility, and finally leads them to a specific laboratory where the effects of pollution on aquatic habitat and organisms are studied. Ted explains that every fourth or fifth specimen pulled out of the sea in that particular area around the garbage patch manifests some kind of mutation, and they are all kept in the laboratory to be studied. Maggie agrees that this is one of the things that could be caused by pollution. Ryan soon notices a specimen in a water-filled glass container reacting somewhat abnormally, and he calls out to his colleagues to come and check it out. Ted comes closer to take a look, and confirms that this is the sort of behavior triggered by the presence of a large predator. He admits, however, that this particular case seems a bit extreme. Ted then calls Steve, a scientist at the facility, and tells him about the specimen's unusual behavior. He asks Steve to check out what could be the problem. Steve returns to his computer, and soon he is able to confirm that something big is moving around nearby. It is moving so fast apparently, and it seems to be heading to the surface of the facility. Professor Thomas, who is with Steve at the time, decides to go and check it out. Meanwhile, Brad, a staff member at the facility, notices the presence of a large creature in the sea and thinks it's a whale. He goes into the water and moves toward the garbage patch. The visitors and staff from the facility run out and ask Brad to get out of the water. But Brad points at the boat and tells them he left something in the boat. He goes on to tell them about the whale he saw here in the water not long ago. He then notices the presence of the large creature and tells them that the whale is back. But of course he's wrong. It's a huge three-headed shark, not a whale. By the time Brad realizes this, it's already too late, and he's devoured by the shark. The visitors and staff at the shore watch with horror, and then they run back to the facility. The shark, however, goes on to attack the facility, causing the facility to explode, with the survivors of the attack now trapped on the island. For a moment, they contemplate on how to leave the island, and finally decide to go with the earth-packed boat the activists came with. Greg is the first to swim to the boat. He tells the others that he will turn on the boat and bring it closer to the shore so that they can all get in and leave. Greg successfully makes it to the boat, but the engine won't turn on after several attempts. The other survivors at the shore are now running out of patience, so Ryan enters the water and swims to the boat. Allison then enters the water, followed by Omar. Unfortunately, Omar is eliminated by the shark. At the seashore now, there is just Maggie, Professor Thomas, and Ted Nelson. Maggie comes up with an idea of distracting the shark by sacrificing her life, so that Professor Thomas and Ted can escape with the others and continue with their research. Her plan is to go into the water and swim toward a direction away from the boat, so that when the shark goes after her, Ted and Professor Thomas will have the opportunity of swimming to the boat. Professor Thomas argues that if there is anyone who should sacrifice their life to save the others, then she is the one. She quickly dives into the water and starts to swim. The three-headed shark goes after her and eats the professor. Ted and Maggie, however, make it to the boat. With the boat's engine now fixed, the survivors take off. But then, right behind them is the aggressive shark, following the boat. After fixing the broken radio, Ryan is able to contact Max Burns, a fisherman who is on a boat with two other younger men. Ryan tells Burns about the shark and the damage it has caused and asks for Burns' assistance. Burns does not believe Ryan at first, thinking that he may have made up the story himself for one reason or another. Meanwhile, The survivors soon realize that the shark is no longer following their boat. They find the shark now following a cruise ship carrying many passengers. Ryan tells Burns that there is a need to act fast, that the shark is now about to attack another ship which has many passengers on board. Burns reluctantly agrees to help. Meanwhile, underwater, the shark eats the empty cans of drinks thrown into the ocean from the cruise ship. Ted then theorizes that the shark is drawn towards pollution, and in this case the garbage from the cruise ship. The survivors try to reach out to the passengers in the cruise ship. However, all their attempts to get the attention of the passengers in the cruise ship fail. Meanwhile, Howard and his girlfriend Rosemary, who are passengers in the cruise ship, notice the shadow of a large sea creature, but they are not sure of what the creature could be, or exactly what they saw. Soon, the three-headed shark attacks the cruise ship, causing the ship's engine to lose power. The senior captain in the ship instructs his junior colleague to go down to the engine room and check out what the problem is. The shark continues to intensify its attack on the ship, causing some of the passengers to lose balance and fall into the water, where they are eaten by the shark. Frightened, the passengers in the ship request for life rafts from the captains, but they are disappointed to learn that there are no life rafts on the ship. Meanwhile, Rosemary is about to fall into the water, but she firmly holds the ship with one hand, while Howard holds her other hand and tries pulling her back into the ship. A more muscular man, Stanley, from the ship finally helps pull Rosemary back into the ship. The survivors from the research station sail toward the cruise ship in order to assist the passengers. As soon as they have their boat next to the ship, they climb in and find most of the passengers injured and bleeding. After another attack on the boat by the shark, Dr. Ted falls into one of the shark's mouths and gets eaten. The survivors finally decide they have to get back to the Earth-packed boat and leave as fast as possible, since the engine of the cruise ship has been damaged. And so, in addition to Stanley, Howard, and Rosemary, the survivors return to the Earth-packed boat and sail off. Ryan, however, does not join them. Instead, he is determined to eliminate the shark using an axe. His colleagues try to discourage him from doing that, but Ryan insists on attacking the shark. He ends up getting eliminated by the shark when he attacks. Later, the survivors arrive at the shore where the shark eliminated a lot of people earlier. Meanwhile, Burns' boat is now being attacked by the shark, so he instructs the two men with him to keep on shooting the shark. The men do exactly as they are instructed, and for a moment, the shark hides underwater, as though it has been defeated. But it suddenly reappears and eliminates the two men shooting at it. The shark then goes on to attack Burns. However, Burns succeeds in cutting off one of the shark's heads. He then sails to the shore of the boat with the shark lying motionless in front of his boat. Burns meets the survivors at the shore, and while he's still speaking with them, the shark develops 3 heads in place of the middle head that was cut. The shark becomes lively again and swiftly eliminates Burns. Frightened, the survivors run away from the shore. They meet the only survivor of the attack at the shore earlier, and soon they discover some human parts scattered across the ground, with blood splattered all over. They are now certain that the shark is responsible for the attack, and they become more frightened. The survivor from the attack still looks very much frightened, and does not want to leave yet, except when he's sure the shark has been eliminated. The group, however, convinces him to come with them. And together, they head to the other part of the island, where 2 motorboats are docked. They divide themselves into 2 groups. Allison, Howard, Rosemary and the survivor board one of the motorboats, while Stanley, Maggie and Greg are in the other boat. Maggie, Greg and Stanley notice the shark going after their colleague's boat and try to warn them, but Allison and the other 3 are not able to understand the signs coming from the other motorboat. The shark finally attacks the boat, causing it to explode. The shark goes on to devour its new victims. Later, Maggie, Greg and Stanley come up with an idea of leading the shark to the garbage patch where there will be so much food for the shark to eat. And in the process of eating, the heads of the shark could get aggressive and attack each other, leading to the death of the shark. Stanley starts to drop some garbage bags into the water, in order to distract the shark as they head to the garbage patch. Unfortunately though, Stanley gets his hand bitten off by the shark while trying to drop in the last garbage bag. And since there are no more garbage bags in the boat with which they can distract the shark, Stanley dives into the water in order to distract the shark. Greg dives into the water as well to save Stanley and get him back to the boat, but Stanley hits Greg with his elbow and asks him to return to the boat. Soon, Stanley is eaten by the shark, and the shark moves further to the garbage patch, where the heads of the shark attack themselves while eating the garbage, resulting in the death of the shark. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.